Morning, yogis. Excuse me, and welcome to your yoga practice with Martin Shifley. So, I'm new to kind of this YouTube teaching yoga online, and I've recently moved to this new apartment, and I've realized that your computer kind of has to be kind of far back enough for you to be able to stand up and get the whole thing. So that being said, I've yet to find that place in this new apartment. And so today's practice is going to be designed to be so that I can stay low enough that you can see me the whole time. So let's just see where that takes us. Let's start in a comfortable seated position, whatever that may mean for you. Close your eyes. Sit up tall. Notice places in your body that you might be able to relax. Space between your teeth, relax your jaw. Sit up tall. Broaden across your collarbone. Relax your shoulder. Let your belly soften. And start to let your breath move down into your belly so that when you breathe in, your belly can slightly expand, almost like a balloon. And when you breathe out, notice how your belly naturally empties. Let your belly muscles relax, but stay up tall. Breathe in. Your belly fills. And breathe out effortlessly. The belly empties. Begin to deepen your breath. On your inhale, watch as your breath moves from your belly toward your heart and up into your throat. And on your exhale, let your breath effortlessly release throat, heart, belly, in and out of the nose if you're able. And now start to notice, is there any space between your inhale and exhale? And if there is, start to smooth that space out. Your breath is almost like a circle without a beginning and without an end. It's ever constant moving in and out. Belly, heart, throat in. Throat, heart, belly out. Take a few more moments to establish yourself in the Dirga breath. So wherever this yoga journey may take us, breath is always the foundation of our path. And so the use of mantra becomes a way to vocally express our breath. And the use of mantra also becomes a way to exercise our diaphragmatic breathing muscles, encouraging an elongated and deeper exhale. And so we'll begin this morning's practice, wherever you are out in the world, with 3 Oms. If you will, bring your hands to touch in front of your heart center, Anahata Chakra. Start by taking a breath in and a breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Followed by 3 Oms. Breath in. Open your eyes, come into tabletop position. Spread your fingers. Stack your wrists directly beneath your shoulders. Lengthen your chest away from your belly. Your gaze is slightly forward. Virālasana, inhale, lift your tail, your chest, your gaze. Exhale, press round. Gaze back toward your navel. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Three more, inhale. Exhale. Push the ground away, round through the upper back. Inhale, lift. Broaden across your collarbone. Exhale, round. Gazes backward. Release the weight of the skull. All the way out, all the way out, all the way out. Last time. Inhale, lift, cow. Exhale, round through cat. Continue to exhale as you roll over the toes into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Pedal your feet if you need. Spread your fingers wide, your hands are shoulder width. Parallel your feet, hips width, distance apart, about 2 fists can fit between them. Everybody bend your knees just a few inches. Push more into your hands to lengthen your tailbone up and back. Your belly moves toward your thighs, your heart toward your knees. Release the weight of your skull, your gaze is backward between your legs, maybe working toward the navel. Release your jaw, there's space between your teeth. On your breath in, notice the space. And on your exhale, press more into the ground, lengthen your tail up and back. Notice the release. On your inhale, full deep breath in, feel the space. And on your exhale, as you release, maybe moving just a little bit deeper. Start to engage Hasta Bandha if you haven't already, the hand lock. Gripping with all 10 fingertips. Pressing also into the place where your hands and your fingers meet, that first knuckle joint. Externally rotate your shoulders, spin your outer arms back toward your feet. You won't see a change, you'll feel it. Engage Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha as you lengthen your tail up and back. 3 more breaths. We're going to step into a yogi squat. Inhale, lift your gaze. Step your right foot toward the outside of your right hand and your left foot toward the outside of your left hand. Adjust your feet as you need. Squat down. Hands lift up to Anahata Chakra at your heart. Broaden across your collarbones. Let your hips sink down. Again, engaging Mula Bandha, the root lock. Trying to lift your heart toward your thumbs, not rounding. And maybe bringing your thumbs toward your breastbone and using that press of the arms into the legs to further open your hips. Keeping Mula Bandha engaged as you exhale, perhaps your tailbone lengthens down toward the floor. If you find this causes pain in your knees, you might be up on the balls of your feet. You might place a rolled up blanket or small cushions beneath your heels to help them to stay elevated. Slow, steady, mindful breaths. Belly, heart, throat, inhale. Throat, heart, belly, exhale, and just notice the places that might get stuck inside. And try to breathe into those places. And particularly on your exhale, notice if you can release it all. But on your inhale, keep your length broaden. And from Malasana, your yogi squat, you'll place your hands, fingers spread wide, shoulder width distance. Lift your tail up high, come onto the balls of the feet, and then place your knees either towards the backs of the shoulders or toward your armpits. Shift your weight forward until your shoulders are in front of your fingertips, and then bend your knees to lift your feet. Bakasana. Try not to look back. Instead, there's a slight lift at your chest, like you could lengthen your heart away from your belly. Breathe. Don't let your elbows splay out. Instead, your arms are gently hugging toward one another. You won't see a change, but you'll feel it. Take one more breath in on the exhale, shooting back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. You can place about 2 fists between your feet. Your heels are straight behind your second and third toe. Your fingers are spread wide. Let your head be heavy. Pushing into the hands, lengthen your tail up and back. Breathe. Maybe just notice in your mind those sensations in your body that start to build that feel like heat. Those sensations that cause your mind to think, I can't. I'm not good enough. Not strong enough. Not able. And just notice how all they are is thoughts. You don't have to act upon them. You don't have to do anything with them. Just let them be there. You'll notice them. 3 more breaths. Breath is the foundation of the practice, particularly when thoughts become too much. Inhale, lift your left leg straight up and back, 3-legged dog. Try not to let your left hip lift any higher than your right. Press more into your hands. Lift your left foot a little bit higher, but don't let your left hip, don't let your left butt lift higher than the right. Press more into both hands. 1 more breath in. On your exhale, bring your left knee forward toward your left elbow. Keep your left knee toward your left elbow, but bring your left ankle across your body toward your right elbow, setting up for Kapotasana, pigeon pose. Breath in. Exhale, lower your shin. Find your setup in that front leg. Your shin could be parallel to the top edge of your mat, or your heel could be much closer in, depending on the flexibility of your hip and how your knee feels. Lengthen that back leg back, and then press into both hands. Lengthen your heart away from your belly. Starts out almost like a back bend, like up dog. Broaden across your collarbones. Engage Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha. Inhale, lengthen your heart away from your belly. Lift your gaze. Exhale, push your shoulder blades forward into your chest. Broaden across your collarbones. Breathing. Belly, heart, throat, inhale. Throat, heart, belly, exhale. 3 more breaths, and then we'll fold into the pose. All right, this is it. Breath in, belly, heart, throat. And on your exhale, fold your belly forward past your thigh. Your heart comes toward the ground, maybe your chin or forehead, and you might be up on your forearms. Or perhaps you begin to slide those arms forward. And now we breathe. You might rock your hips just a little left and right so you find that sweet spot right in the middle. That balance place between left and right. You start to find that balance place between inhale and exhale. The balance place in the rhythm of your heartbeat. The balance place in your mind. Use your exhales in particular to soften and surrender. Notice how with your exhales, your body naturally is able to let go. This might be it, or we'll take it just a little further by tucking the toes on our back foot. Come onto the ball of the foot. And then straighten your leg. Lengthen your heel backward toward the bottom edge of your mat. And then replace that leg back down to the floor. Place the top of the foot where the shoelaces would be back to the floor. Inhale, let your heart lift about a ½ inch or so. Lengthen it forward away from your belly. And then exhale forward and back down toward the ground. You might energetically lengthen your left hip backwards toward the bottom edge of your mat. You won't see a change, but you might feel a little more stretch in that outer hip. 3 more full deep breaths here. Smooth that breath out. Like a circle. No beginning and no end. Finding balance in the center. We walk our hands back beneath our shoulders, pressing up. And then you're welcome to stay here. Let's start to move into that back thigh, that back hip. Bend your back knee and reach your right hand back in for the big toe side edge. And then maybe walk over top that foot so that you can slide the big toe in toward the crook of your elbow. Well, this is where I'll stay, but perhaps you can take it further by reaching your left arm up and back and theoretically taking your bind if you've got it. If you're using that left hand for support, press it actively into the ground to lengthen your heart up away from your belly. Broaden across your collarbones. And on your exhale, let your hips sink down toward the floor. Maybe this right knee can gently slide back, moving deeper into your hip flexor. Engaging Mula Bandha, the root lock. Uddiyana Bandha, the belly lock. 3 more breaths. On your next exhale, you'll release that right leg back so that you're on the ball of the foot. And then press so that your knee is lifted, your thigh is active. Press into both hands, and then we're going to come out just like we came in. Keep your left knee at your left elbow, but your left ankle at your right elbow as you lift and hold. Press actively away from the ground so that you kind of round your shoulders just a bit, but then lengthen your heart away from your belly. 3, 2, inhale, lift your left leg straight up and back. Exhale, bring your knee to your chest, thigh to your belly, core plank pose. Shift your shoulders above your wrists. Inhale, lift your leg up and back.
Exhale, draw your left knee across your body toward your right elbow, and then extend your leg out to the side, pinky toes that edge of your foot to the floor. Inhale, reach your right arm up. Turn your heart and belly toward the sky, and then press into both feet. Press into your left hand, lift your hips high, broaden across your collarbones, lengthen your heart away from your belly, breathing. Press your shoulder blades forward toward your chest, open your heart more, 3, 2, keeping your feet where they are, exhale, both hands down to the ground, feel that extra stretch across the outside of that left hip. 2 breaths here. And then inhale your left leg up and back, 3-legged dog. Exhale, lower your left foot down to the ground. Inhale, lift your gaze, step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. Step your right foot to the outside of your right hand, drop down Malasana. Yogic squat, hands come to your heart. Breathe. Find that place in the middle. Maybe take a moment just to notice the difference between your left and your right. So we have these separate energy channels, these nadis that move through our body. Predictable, traceable ways in which the prana, the energy of life, moves. And so that the yogis have mapped out some 70-some thousand of these nadis. But in our practices, we generally utilize and focus upon 3. And these nadis, these energy channels upon which we focus, are the left nadi, the right nadi, and the center. So take a moment for now to notice the difference between your left your right, and then your center. Lifting your heart toward your thumbs, broadening across your collarbones, lengthening the crown of your head upward and your tailbone downward, lengthen through your center. This time we'll add a twist. Bring your right hand down and then press your arm into the inside of that right leg. Reach your left arm up. Lengthen at your heart, broaden across your collarbones. Turn your gaze to look toward your left thumb. If you'd like to take it further by adding a bind, I'll welcome you to, but we're going to come back to this pose a few times, so you might wait for that if you should like. Broaden across your collarbones, almost like you could spin the tops of your shoulders backwards towards your butt. Try to press a little bit more into your left foot so that your weight's more evenly distributed. Breath in, exhale, bring your hands back through heart center. To switch sides, your left hand reaches down so that your left arm is pressing that left thigh a little bit more open. Inhale, reach your right arm up, lengthen at your heart. Exhale, press as you deepen your twist. And then like you can roll your shoulders backward towards your butt, broaden even further across your collarbones. Press a little bit into that right foot. Balance your weight slightly. 3, 2. Exhale your hands to your heart center. We'll move back into Bakasana, crow pose. Hands come to the floor, shoulder width distance, fingers spread wide. Lift those knees up high towards the backs of the arms or to the outer arms, squeezing in. Bend your knees, feet lift. Gaze is slightly forward. You have to grip a little bit with your fingertips. This pose requires your hands to be working a bit. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. Notice Ida on the left. Pingala on the right. Sushumna. In the center, as you lengthen your tail up and back, as you let your head be heavy. Let's move into the right side. Inhale your right leg up and back. But don't let your right hip lift higher than your left. Press more into both hands. Your tail is still lifting up and back. Your belly still pressing toward your thigh. Exhale your right knee toward your right elbow. Keeping here, bring your ankle across the body toward your left elbow, like a flying pigeon. 3, 2, exhale to lower your right leg. Moving into Kapurkasana, but first we'll stay upright. Pressing into both hands, maybe even coming onto your fingertips. Broadening across your collarbones. Lifting your heart, lifting your gaze. Exhaling down into your hips as your seat maybe moves a little closer to the floor. Try to keep the hips centered as best you can. Don't lean too far to the left or to the right. Start to fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, your belly moves past your thighs. You walk your hands forward, maybe coming onto your forearms. Maybe sliding the arms forward as your chin or forehead come down to the ground. If you need to wiggle just a little bit into those hips to find that center space, go ahead and do so. You come back to your breath. Yoga is about balance. It's about finding the center place. This marriage between inhalation and exhalation, between movement and stillness, between body and mind, God and man and woman, earth, people, animals, plants. Yoga is the center place where we're all one. Use your breath to notice. Use your breath to make space for the yoga inside of you. It said the yoga is already our nature. It's who we are. We do these practices to remind ourselves to uncover the truth that we always knew. Three more breaths. Use your exhales to just let go. Find that center place. Starting to move toward Raja Kapurkasana. Place your hands back beneath your shoulders. Inhale, press to straighten the arms, lift your heart, lift your gaze. And again, you're welcome to stay here. I like to plant my right hand just a little bit more center mat. Bend the left knee, bend your left knee. Reach your left hand back, maybe taking the big toe edge of the foot, or maybe bending that leg a little more. And then sliding the toes toward that crook in your elbow to go deeper. This may be where you stay, or if you know how to take the mermaid bind, you'll move there. Keeping your right hand on the ground, you'll press into that hand to help lengthen your heart away from your belly, broaden across your collarbones, begin to lift your gaze, but don't just look up. Instead, try to lengthen the whole front side of your body from your chest, through your throat, through your gaze. Breathe. On your exhales, maybe that back knee can kind of energetically slide backwards, that you move a little deeper into your seat. And on your next exhale, you'll release your left leg back. Place your hands beneath your shoulders. We'll come out slowly like we came in first. Press into the back foot. Let your knee and thigh engage. Press into your hands. And then lift that front thigh, but still like you're flying in pigeon. Breathing 3, 2. Inhale, your right leg lifts straight up and back. Exhale, core plank. Bring your knee to your chest. Inhale, lift your right leg straight up and back. Exhale your right knee across your body toward your left elbow and then extend your leg out. Pinky toes to the edge of the foot to the floor. Press into your right hand. Inhale, reach your left arm up. Press into both feet to lift your hips high. Press more to your right hand and grip with all 5 fingertips. Broaden across your collarbones, breathing 3. Keeping your feet as they are, exhale, release your left hand back down. Find that extra stretch on that outer right hip. Inhale your right leg straight up and back. 3-legged dog. Exhale, release, downward facing. Come back to your breath. We'll move back into that yogic squat. Inhale, lift your gaze, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand, left foot outside your left hand, dropping down. Malasana. Ooh, Lord. Hello, hips. Ida and Pingala. Moon and sun. Ida and Pingala. Intuition and logic. Ida and Pingala. Like inhale and exhale, like spirit and matter. And yoga means to unite, to yoke, to be in a state of harmony. It's already your nature. These practices designed simply to awaken us to what is already there. 3 more full deep breaths. And slowly let your hips slide down toward the floor. You might use your hands, then you'll have a big bump on the way down. Bring the soles of your feet together, Baddha Konasana. You might draw those heels in very close to your groin, but if that causes you to slumping around a lot, you might even sit up on a little cushion or a pillow. On your inhale, just lift, broaden, almost like you're in a back bend, almost like you're in upward facing dog. Try not to lean way back. Instead, press your butt into the floor to sit up very tall. As you exhale, maybe you energetically work these outer thighs down, further stretching your groin. Maybe pull the heels in a little closer. You're closing your eyes. Notice how there isn't really a left side and a right side. There really isn't even an inhale and an exhale. There isn't a separate body and a separate mind. Not a separate ego, not a separate soul. Take a place to notice. Take a moment to notice the edges.
Blurry places. Places in between. Can't really tell the difference. It's all really one. Your next exhale, just begin to fold a little bit forward. Maybe your eyes are still closed. And then release the weight of your skull. Breathe. Always breathing. Using that breath. From the inhale to lengthen. And the exhale to soften. Maybe to deepen. And just noticing. 3 more here. Use your next inhale to lift back up. You might press your hands under the floor of your feet to help lift that lift. Bring your hands to your outer thighs, help you bring those knees toward one another. And then walk your feet out just a little bit. Bring your hands towards the backs of your legs, lifting your chest. And then let your feet lift back. Navasana, both pose. You're welcome to continue to hold on to the backs of the legs, to work towards straightening your knees, to let go, lifting at your heart. And fully and freely admit that this pose is my nemesis. It challenges muscles that in my body I find to be less strong than the other muscles. I get a lot of shakes and a lot of bullshit thoughts in my brain, and so breathe I must. 10. Don't let your brain bullshit you halfway there. 5. If you need to hold on to the backs of the legs to help get a little more lift. 3. 2. You're going to cross your ankles, come forward, roll onto your hands and knees, and you might just step back into down dog, or if you're feeling a little adventurous, ankles crossed, just a little press on the tops of your feet so you get a little float. Pressing into the hands and then float back, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Notice. So much of yoga about finding that center place. The place from which it all comes. Not too much left, not too much right, not too much fire, not too much ice. Not too much work. Not too much lazy either. Just right. And my first yoga teacher used to say, if not today, then eventually and in the future. 3 more breaths. Exhale your knees towards the floor. Walk your hands back. And from here, we're going to move towards cow face by crossing our right thigh in front of the left, opening our legs out wide, and then sitting our butts back between those legs. If this pose for some reason hurts your knees, or you find it difficult for low back tightness or for hip tightness, sit up on a few pillows or couch cushions or yoga blocks. In
theoretically, one day they may stack one on top of the other. Let's start out first, if you're able, by interlacing your fingers with your toes. Hold hands with your feet. They're your feet. Take a moment to close your eyes. Connect first with sits bones, with your roots. Notice where you touch the ground. Making the ground more equally sides. You engage Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha, root and belly locks if you haven't already. And lengthen the heart up like you could get taller. Don't look up, but lengthen the crown of your head upwards, almost like there's a line coming from the crown of your head. You hang from the crown of your head, gently lengthen. The teacher might describe it like imagining this string lengthens the crown of your head upwards at the rest of your spine. Drips down slowly like honey. Lengthening. Relaxing. Take a few more breaths here. And release that grip of your hands with your toes. Inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Your hands come shoulder width distance that you can bend and catch hold of opposite elbows. And almost like you could pull your elbows upward, get taller, reach your forearms backward. No, they won't go anywhere. Imagine pressing your shoulder blades forward toward your chest. Breathe. Let's have a side body stretch toward this top right leg. Try not to slump down. Instead, push your butt forward, get taller. Always like your heart could move away from your belly. Always squeezing these inner thighs together, almost like you could cross the legs even more. Inhale, release your arms up and over. Interlace all your fingers except your pointer finger. Reach, get taller. Sit a little bit longer, and then let's add a twist. Exhale your hands to your heart center. Left elbow to the outside of your right knee or thigh. You might switch the grips that your top hand becomes a fist. Inhale, lift your heart toward your thumbs. Exhale, press. Twist deeper, maybe gazing over your back shoulder. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen. Two more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale to unwind. So there's kind of a fancy, fun way of doing this next transition to get to the other side. So I'll teach that first. So your right leg's on top, your hands come over to the left. What you basically do is push into your hands and then push into your feet so you can kind of lift your butt and hips off the floor. And then as you lift your hips, they kind of spin, turning them around. You walk your hands around, let your feet sort of stay planted as your hips move, and you break that circle to the other side. Give it a shot. If that seems ridiculous, lean back, switch your legs that you need with your opposite leg on top. Just like we did last time, we'll start out first by holding hands with our feet. This time, if you should like to join me, we will add a pranayama practice, so deep breathing practice. I would recommend that you do not practice this next style of breath if you are pregnant Or think that you might be because we use the abdominal muscles in a way that, as I was trained, could potentially injure the baby growing inside. This is Kapalabhati, the skull shining breath. You focus especially on your exhalation, hugging your abs in as you breathe out to kind of force the air out. Your breath in will take care of itself. Join me when and if you become ready. Ten, nine, eight, seven, six, five, four, three, two. Breathe all the way out, breathe all the way out, breathe all the way out, and hold your breath out. Notice empty. 3, 2, 1. Release your toes as you inhale. Your arms up and overhead. Exhale, bend, catch hold of opposite elbows. Push your butt into the floor, reach your arms up, sit taller. Take a moment to notice what you've created. This practice of yoga where we almost place our body in these extremes, where we place our breath in these extremes, where we explore the depths of fullness and emptiness, of movement and stillness, we are ultimately trying to uncover that center place that is yoga. The center place that is balance. The center place that is love for all things, but also being unattached to all things. Place of ease and effortlessness. It sometimes comes through great amounts of effort. 3 more breaths. Letting your side body stretch. Release your arms, interlace all your fingers, get even taller, get even longer. Exhale, side body stretch just a little more, and then we add our twist. Your hands move through your heart. Your right elbow comes to the outside of that top knee or thigh. Inhale your heart toward your thumbs. Exhale, deepen your twist. Not rounding here, instead always inhale to lengthen. Exhale to deepen. Two more breaths. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to unwind. You'll bring your hands back behind you, unwind your legs. Take them forward, give just a little bit of a shake and a wiggle. Your hands come by your hips for Dandasana staff pose. Press into your hands, push into your butt. If you're tight in your thighs or low back, you'll have a little bend in your knees. That's okay. You'd even place a pillow or a cushion there to support that bend. Tuck your chin toward your chest, but then almost like the back of your head could move straight back, finding Jalanthana Bandha, throat lock. Broaden across your collarbones, but at the same time push your shoulder blades forward towards your chest. Low belly, Uddiyana Bandha, root lock, Mula Bandha. Breathe. Notice the paradox of effort and ease. The paradox of inhale and exhale. Paradox of light and dark, of life and death, and notice. Notice the places in between. Places where the edges are blurry and all is rewind. Nagyam Brahma. Take one more breath in to lengthen. Exhale your heart towards your knees, nose towards your toes. Use your hands. Inhale, lengthen your heart away from your belly. Exhale your heart to your toes, nose towards your knees. Walk your hands forward, either floor, whatever works best for you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. You might release the weight of your head. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders. Inhale, lengthen your heart away from your belly. Exhale, fold and release. Not to let your knees lay away from each other. Instead, think about your inner thighs rolling down toward the ground, which will help to activate your legs. As your inner thighs roll down, your tailbone lengthens backward, your heart lengthens forward. Even in that center place, there's room to grow. Growing from that center place, through that center place. Inhale to release, you'll place your hands back behind you just a little bit, a little wider than shoulder width distance. Place your feet onto the floor. Inhale, reverse table. Press into your feet, press into your hands. It's safe to let your head fall back if it feels safe to let your head fall back. Press more into your hands, broaden more across your collarbones, and almost like you could push your shoulder blades forward into your chest. 3, 2, exhale to release your tail back down, moving through crisscross applesauce. Your hands come forward, never float chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Notice. Breathe. Let your head be heavy, let your jaw release. Inhale, lift your right leg straight up and back, moving toward Anjaneyasana. Exhale your knee to your chest, step your right foot towards your right thumb, lower your back knee. Your back shoe. Moment, maybe let your back knee slide back a little bit. Walk your hands up to your front thigh. Let your hips just sink down and forward. Plenty here, or press a bit into the heel of your front foot as you lengthen your heart up away from your belly and maybe reach your arms up and back. Crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. Can you find that space between ground and sky? Your hips moving down and forward, but at the same time pressing into your feet to lift your heart up and back. Like your thumbs, your hands could reach backward, but like your armpits could push forward. Feel the upper back engagement, get longer, get taller. Breathe. 3, 2, exhale your hands to frame that front foot. Inhale, Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits pose. Lift at your heart, lengthen. Exhale, overachieve, like your heart comes to your knee. Like your forehead could one day touch your foot, and then release the weight of your head. Almost like you could lengthen the crown of your head down toward the tops of the foot, but like you could lengthen your butt up and backward. Notice the difference between your right and left sides. But then notice how you can lengthen from the tail to the crown through your center. Never feel any pain in your knee. Back off by bending your knee. Make sure those front toes point straight up. Try not to let the toes turn out to the side. If you'd like to take it further, your front heel glides forward, back knee glides backward, moving toward your fuller splits pose. Another one of my nemesis postures. I'm not super duper flexible, never have been. And so ideally, you're not kind of really rounding the way that I am. Instead, there's a little bit more length in the heart. If I had blocks, I'd place my hands in those blocks so I could find more lift in my chest. Broadening across your collarbones. Keep engaging in those legs. This front hip is drawing backward. Back hip forward. Heart is lengthening away from the belly. 3. 2. I'm going to start to glide that front foot back. Coming through high plank. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Then we're going to move into Anjaneyasana on the left side. Inhale your left leg up and back. Exhale your knee to your chest and then your left foot toward your left thumb. So you've got a little bit of space between your legs. Lower your right knee, right shoelaces. Walk your hands up to that front thigh. So take a moment first to find ground. Let your hips move a little down and forward. Feel that stretch here in that right hip. And then to find sky, press a little bit into this front heel. The shoelaces of your back foot. Your heart begins to lengthen up away from your belly. Maybe the hands reach up and back. Crescent lunge. You want to take the shape of the moon with your body. Notice how on your inhale you can lengthen up toward the sky, and on your exhale, lengthen down toward the ground. Finding those yoga places. Places of union, of balance. Exhale your hands to fan your front foot, Ardha Hanumanasana, half splits pose. I like to first slide my back knee back a little bit. Flex my front foot so I'm the heel, and it's like your butt moves up and back. At the same time, your heart lengthens forward and down. And notice how I'm moving in all these separate ways. Find space to grow in the center. Space to lengthen in the inhale. Space to surrender in the exhale. Space to explore our bodies and our mind. Notice those blurry places. Those places at the edge. Those places where your skin becomes the earth and the sky. Your bones become your muscle, become your skin. And staying here, moving into the fullest expression of Hanumanasana, splits pose, front heel glides a little forward, back, back. Just not losing control of those legs, still keeping that activation. Your left hip energetically hugs back and your right hip energetically hugs forward. Try not to round, instead lengthening your heart away from your belly. Breathing. Moving out of this, we'll slide that front heel back, maybe moving through your table to high plank, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. And from downward facing dog, we'll move forward through plank. Wrists beneath shoulders, fingers spread wide, heels lengthen backward. Draw your pubic bone towards your belly button. And then at the same time, lengthen your heart away from your belly. It might feel like you just made this little checks and balance inside. Grow from the center. Press into those hands. Breathe. And You notice threads that your mind tries to weave, telling you what you can't do while you're in the middle of doing it well. 3, 2, forearm plank. Slowly but surely, your right elbow replaces your right hand, your left elbow replaces your left hand. Keep your palms as wide as your shoulders. Press from the end of the fingertips. Lengthen your heart away from your belly. Gazes slightly forward. 3, 2, Sphinx pose. Lower your knees, your hips, your shoelaces. Your elbows are beneath your shoulders and press into both forearms to lift at your heart. No, they won't actually go anywhere. It's like your outer arms could spin backwards to help you broaden across your collarbones. And though they won't go anywhere, it's like your shoulder blades could push forward into your chest to get more lift at your heart. So think about your inner thighs, the insides of your legs, spinning up toward the ceiling, and then push into your feet. Bring each hand out about 3 inches wider and maybe push to straighten your arms. And then like your outer arms could spin backward, broaden across your collarbones, almost like you're trying to turn your elbow bones down toward the floor. Push more into your arms, push more into your feet, lengthen your heart away from your belly. Maybe they won't move, but as you push down with your hands, it's almost like energetically you could drag them backward so that your heart goes forward. 3, 2, exhale. Ooh, right cheek to the mat. Breathe and soften. Turn your left cheek to the mat. Breathe and soften. Bend your knees, reach back for the pinky toes and edges of your feet or your ankles. Then walk your knees back toward each other. They're no wider than your hips. Start by kicking your feet into the hands, broaden across your collarbones. As your heart lifts, imagine it moving forward away from your belly, and then maybe the thighs begin to lift as well. Try not to let your knees splay way out apart from each other. Kick your feet into your hands, but still lengthen your heart forward and up. Breathe. Relax your jaw. Exhale and release. Turn your right cheek to the mat. Palms down by your sides, face up. Left cheek to the mat. And we'll repeat Dhanurasana this time. We'll roll on to our sides. If you should like and you don't have any issues with your low back, catch the outer edges of the feet. Inhale, kick your feet into the hands, find your lift. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, you'll roll over onto your right side. Keep the collarbones broad and kick your left foot even more into your left hand. Maybe let the right side of your head come to the floor as you kick and breathe, not fighting with gravity anymore as you open your chest. 3. So we're going to inhale back through Dhanurasana in the center. And then exhale, roll onto your left side. The same thing, kick, broaden across those collarbones. Breathe, maybe release the side of your head as long as it feels okay for your neck. We're going to come back through the center, holding Dhanurasana. Inhale through the center, kick, lift, breathe. 3, 2, exhale to release. Place your hands beneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes so you come onto the balls of your feet, straighten your legs. Engage your belly muscles so that when you push up to high plank, your ass doesn't come up 55 years after everything else. All parts arrive at once. None of this. Ugh. High plank, down dog. Breathe and notice that center place. How we can grow from that place. Lengthen your tail up and back, but your crown hangs heavy. Push more into the ground to lengthen up more into the sky. Tallest trees have the deepest roots. Headstand, lowering your knees. And if you want to move into child's pose instead, I don't blame you one little bit. You can also go to the wall now. I'm going to teach it from here. Starting in your tabletop position, place your elbows onto the floor, and then I like to grab hold of opposite elbows. That ensures that my elbows are beneath my shoulders and not too wide. From there, I'll release my hands and interlace my fingers up to the webbing. Not super tight, not a death grip. Instead, there's a little basket of space here that I can place my head into. So that said, once I've found that proper placement, I'm going to walk my knees a little forward so I can place the crown of my head. That's the top, not the forehead. The top, where my baseball hat would rest. And then maybe I'll stay here and I'll practice pushing into my elbows, building strength in my upper back. Ideally, in your headstand, most of the weight is actually in your arms and shoulders, not in your head. If you'd like more, tuck your toes from the balls of your feet, and then straighten your legs by lifting your knees in a dolphin dog variation. Then you might bend your legs a little bit so that you can walk your feet in toward your face, but what you're really doing is moving your ass forward over your shoulders more. You got to get your butt over your shoulders to move into headstand. Draw one knee into your chest, maybe the tiniest hop that ever lived to get both knees into your chest, and then maybe both legs extend up into the sky. Activate your feet like you're standing on them. Hug your legs actively together. Basically in mountain pose, but upside down. So this is active. Engage Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha by drawing your pubic bone towards your belly button, hugging in your belly muscles. Relax your jaw. Again, there's this very gentle press of your forearms into the floor, and then it's like you could spin your outer arms towards the bottom edge of your mat. Like you could almost hug the outer arms in just a little bit. Shut up and breathe. Oh. My teacher once said that this pose is all about faith. Shraddha, because we place our feet into the heavens, which so often ground us on the earth. Got to have faith in that center place, in that balance place. 3 more breaths. And then to come out of it slowly, you'll hinge your hips. Your butt kind of has to move again toward the back of your head, the direction you're not looking, as a counterbalance. And then you lower your feet slowly, 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 or fast, depending on where you are. Child's pose, Balasana. Either the thighs together or knees apart, hands extended forward or back by the sides. Your choice. Breathe. Sitting up, Vajrasana, and making your way down onto your back. Draw your knees into your chest, draw your thighs into your belly. Give your legs a squeeze. And then adding a spinal twist, opening your arms out. Exhale your legs either right or left. Jathara Parivartanasana. Stomach churning pose. Done a lot of work for these outer hips, so you might like to take and extend that top leg, reaching for the pinky twisted edge of the foot if it's not going to cause pain to your knee or low back. You could also take it even further by taking this bottom leg, whichever that is, and then reaching down for the big toe side edge of that with your opposite hand. And then you're working to ground through both shoulders and the back of the rib cage, even as you twist, especially as you twist, maybe. Whichever your top hip is, you're lengthening it down toward the bottom edge of your mat. Regardless of where you are, exhale, release the legs. Inhale, you'll move through center. Exhale, begin with your twist to the other side. And if you took it further, taking it further on this side as well to match. Finding that balance place. Even if we don't feel balanced on the inside, attempting to find. Final breath here. Release your legs, inhale through center, give your legs a squeeze. Exhale, coming down into Shavasana. Don't skip it. Said to be the most challenging posture. It looks to the outsider like you're doing nothing. And it's the place where the body and the mind and the spirit have a moment to rest in yoga. Patanjali describes yoga as a stillness in the wanderings of the mind. So that in that place of stillness, in that place in the center where it is calm, the yogi. The yogi there experiences her true nature. Let's just let go of all the doing. Let go of all the forcing. Come into your true nature. I am Atma Brahman. I am Atma Brahman. I am Atma Brahman. I am my soul. My soul is one. This is the path of the yogi. So stay here in your Shavasana, or you begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rock your chin a little left and right. Circle your ankles and your wrists. Rolling up into your seat, however you like to get there, placing your hands at Anahata Chakra, the heart center, house of the spirit. The house of oneness, and in a gesture of honor, those in between places. Take a moment to bow our chin to our chest, and we'll complete our practice with the sound of a single long inhale.
Namaste.
If you like my channel or my videos, please give a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, all that jazz. I hate to have to be a YouTube hustler, but that's the world we're living in right now. Peace, y'all. Have a good day.